how to read their comments.
I think it says we're live right now.
All right. The only thing I don't know is how we.
See the comments?
I think it just comes up there.
Okay.
The only thing I don't know is how we save it afterwards so that it plays. It keeps playing. So we'll figure that out, I
But
guess.
this is all recording right now.
Yeah.
We're,
Yeah. All right. So we'll just begin. Hey guys, and welcome to Real Life and Beauty by Mari. So sorry on the delay with my video. This was supposed to come out like a week ago, but there was a little drama that night or that weekend or whatever, so we couldn't film. But we're here, we're live, right? With the one and only.
Hi, my name's Kate.
All right, so a little story about us, right? We worked together like, what, 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
Yeah.
3 years ago, my gosh. All right, so
Close to
3 years ago, we're both in recovery. We all know how that goes. We're still, what, sober. We're 4.5 years. Woo woo. So, but we're not gonna really talk too much on recovery from addiction or anything. It's more towards trauma, right? And I think a lot of us have it, whether we acknowledge it or not, some more so than others. And I think the biggest thing that I hear from people, or what I maybe don't even hear enough of, is how do you live with trauma every day? How do you overcome it? Especially as women, right? You know, how do you live with yourself? How do you, you know, work on your self-esteem or your self-worth or relationships or whatever? So this is kind of what this film is about. How to not just overcome trauma, you know, but how can we live with it every day? How do we have healthy relationships? How do we have like, sorry guys, that's my dog making all that noise back there. So it's kind of like the recovery road of how we get to being okay today, right? And still maybe not even being 100%. So I wanted to bring her along to live stream with us and kind of figure out, hold on a second, I need to stop. So that's why I brought her to the live stream, because I wanted her to talk about her story on trauma, recovery, and what she does today to live with it and to manage her life, her emotions, and et cetera, et cetera. So let's talk a little bit about that. So I want to know a little bit, and whatever you're comfortable with, about your trauma, like what happened, how did it affect you, and what did it affect? Did it affect your self-esteem, your self-worth, your relationships, your trust, whatever or however it affected you, and what changed in your life?
Okay. So, trauma for me, like, began at, like, a young age. I was molested at, like, the age of 5. On like occasion, like I can have like flashbacks from that of like the man being on top of me and touching me and whatnot, and like I didn't necessarily understand what was going on at that time.
Yeah. And then when you say younger, were you like a child?
I was like 5.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
And you know, like my household at the time, it was like, if something goes on, you don't like talk about it. Like I didn't feel like I was able to really like talk about my feelings necessarily And there was also like a lot of abuse going on in the home. Like my mom was steady getting beat by my stepdad, and so it was like, you know, like one of my first memories of her being thrown through a wall. And so like right from a young age, like learning to trust men was kind of like non-existent. Yeah. Like it was like, you don't trust men. Right. People are commenting.
Hold on, guys, let me read your comment. Let's see. Oh, I think it's just people saying that they're watching.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, go. So, you know, like I said, like I learned at a young age, like not to trust men, not to be able to trust really anyone, you know, like
Did it affect you as far as behaviorally, like at school, academically, like what change do you think at age 5 and at the age that you saw your mom being thrown?
Well, that was all happening from the time that I was like 2 till the time that I was 12 of my mom being beat. Mm-hmm. So like it didn't affect me academically, but it affected me like not being able to like share how I felt. Mm-hmm. Like I definitely like repressed a lot. And I also like I repressed a lot of my feelings. I didn't share how I felt at all. Mm-hmm. And like I kind of like made it my job to make it like whenever people are around me, I'm just gonna make them smile and laugh. Yeah. And like that's how it went for me. And I did that for years, and I didn't realize like how much of that made me, actually until I'm talking about it right now, of being like how much other people's happiness means to me. Yeah. And like how that makes me who I am. Mm-hmm. Because like I've never been the one who's like the selfish person. I'm like the selfless person. Mm-hmm. Where like I'll always give all of me, regardless if it hurts me, regardless if I'm like dying inside, if I'm miserable inside, like as long as you're happy, that's all that matters. Mm-hmm. And that's how it was as like a young kid, you know. And so like academically, like I would make straight A's.
Oh really? I was the complete opposite, let me just say.
Like the trauma is like a young kid, like I think that I just didn't understand what was going on necessarily.
Do you think that's why you went to drugs?
And I think that it could have been a play in it for sure. But then as I like got older, I started drinking and partying and doing like what, you know, normal teenagers do. And I ended up going to a party, and then I got raped at the age of 16 by 2 guys. And I'm from a small town in Georgia, so like whenever we went to this party, there was like, I don't know, like 6 counties that came to that one party. So it's like, you know, like it was all like friends of friends that like everyone knew somebody and whatnot. And whenever it happened, like it was like 2 men that I knew nothing about. Right. I can't even tell you what their faces look like. I don't know their names. I don't know anything about them. And I got to be a bit too tipsy, and I went to go like change into my bikini. Like all the girls were going and getting out into the river with their like bra and panties on, and I was like, that's not like who I am, and I want to go change into my bikini. So I went to a room to change into my bikini, and I was in the bathroom, and the 2 guys followed me in. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like how that went down. And for the longest time, like I blamed myself. Like, cause like I kind of looked at it as like I put myself there. like I was asking for that, you know what I mean? Like it was like I put all the blame on me because I was like, I don't even know who these two guys are, and I didn't speak to anybody about it. Because again, it was like,
Go ahead.
It was again like you don't the type of like environment that I grew up in is like you don't talk about stuff like this.
I think a lot of us can relate to that. I know it was like that with me too. Do you think that, or not think, but did you actually, like, after it all happened and went down, did you just put on your bikini and just go out there like nothing happened?
Oh no, I woke up completely like on the floor. They just like kind of left me there, and my friend came in and he like helped clean me up or whatever. It was like, I don't know how I was like content with him helping me because he was a man. But at that moment he was the only male that I actually trusted. And he like wrapped me up and put me into his truck and he took me home, and he like stayed there with me all night, and we're still friends to this day. And he never told anyone else. Like he was like, he asked me if he wanted, if you know, like if I wanted him to, but he didn't see it happen. He didn't know who it was, you know. And
did anything change at that point after that happened?
Yeah, like I wouldn't hug my dad. I wouldn't hug any male. Like I didn't want anyone to be around me. You know, like I had the biggest fucking issue with trust at that point. And I didn't even trust myself, let alone somebody else. And but like my friend that like helped me, like I felt like I owed him my life at that point.
How was your like self-worth and self-esteem at that point?
I had none. But like I don't know if I ever even had any before that. Because like I was telling you, like I always reflected on everybody else's happiness as my happiness. So like I was never taught to like love myself, you know. Like I had like body image issues because like my mom would be like, oh, suck in your stomach because people can see you're fat, you know. And like so like body image gone. You know, like I didn't even know what self-worth was. Like I didn't know, like I as a kid I was like a bit overweight, so again that was like a body image issue. And then, you know, like it, for women at least, I feel like your body image is like your biggest thing of being able to have self-worth. Like that's what like leads to it. And so like whenever you're growing up, and especially in our day of age of where you like see magazines, you see all this other stuff, and it's like that defines your self-worth, but that's not the case, you know. Like it, like knowing who I am today, and even as like a 5-year-old girl, like if I saw somebody that told me that like they weren't worth loving, like I'd be like, what are you talking about, dude? Like you're beautiful, you know, and you're so worthy, and you're smart, and you're brilliant, you know. And like nobody ever took the time to tell me that. You know, so like I didn't know what self-worth even was. So like, you know, like I was smart as hell. Like even after I even after I got raped and whatnot, like I just dove into books, and I ended up graduating with a 3.89 GPA. And like I got accepted into UGA, and like that's whenever I started being rebellious. But like I didn't go to parties no more. Like I had like learned my lesson. I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, but not once did anybody ever, whenever they saw that like my behavior started to change, especially towards like men, nobody ever questioned it. Nobody ever was like, all right, something's going on, we need to get Kate some help. Like nobody even questioned it. And so like I wouldn't have like boyfriends, like I wouldn't talk to boys, like I wouldn't be in a room alone with guys. Like I didn't want any of that at all. And I actually did not share about that until I went to treatment at 22 years old. So like not once did I ever even talk about it. So I just like repressed it, and I shoved it down. And that's whenever like I started doing drugs at 18. So like I was just like repressing. Then I graduated, and it was like drugs.
What do you think changed at that point? Why do you think you stopped repressing it? What, now looking back, maybe you didn't realize it at the time, but something had to have happened to where you maybe had enough and turned to drugs.
Well, I had met Aaron, which was my ex-fiance, and he was the first man that taught me how to trust again. And so I was like, okay, like, but I didn't want to share about my trauma because I was ashamed. And so like I was like, yeah, like, you know, I've gone through some shit, and basically like I kind of went around it, but I never like addressed it with him or anything of that sort.
Okay.
And then he's the one who introduced me to drugs. And how I got introduced to drugs, why?
Hold on. So he introduced you to drugs,
But he's the one that taught me how to trust.
Right. So do you think that it was because you just wanted him to be happy, and you reflected on you, and you were like, well, this makes you happy? Do you ever think of it?
Well, okay. Yes, but that's what I was getting at.
Oh, okay.
So how I was introduced to drugs was I walked in to him shooting up.
Yeah.
And I had like no idea. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is what junkies do. Like, we don't do this. We are normal people. What the fuck? And I was freaking out. And he literally grabbed me by my neck, slammed me up against the wall, and told me I wasn't allowed to leave.
Yeah.
And he was like, you're going to feel what I want to feel, or what I feel.
Yeah.
And he was like, but you're not allowed to leave me. And like at that point, like I had not been, he had never put his hands on me. I didn't know anything about, I mean, like I knew about physical abuse, but I had never like truly experienced it myself. Like I knew about it from my mom, you know, and whatnot, but like I never truly experienced it myself. So I was just like, all right, dude, like, and yeah, so I wanted to make him happy. Like I was like, all right, like I just want you to be, I want you to love me. Like please show me love. Just love me. And so like I let him shoot me up for the first time, and I was miserable, and I cried, and I threw up for 2 days, and it was fucking awful. And then because I had such a bad experience, he wanted me to do it again. And I was like, no, fuck that, I'm packing my shit, I'm leaving. And that's whenever like the physical abuse really started like picking up and going. And so again, it was like going back to me never like loving myself, because I was just wanting somebody, anybody to love me. And that didn't matter if I had to sell my soul to the fucking devil. Yeah. Like I wanted somebody, anybody just to love me. And like as a kid, that's me seeing physical abuse. That was my way of like seeing that like Calvin loved my mom. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like I knew that it was bad, but it was like at the same time, like this is a form of love. Right.
That was love.
Not that I like thought, my thought process wasn't that, but that's how I was accepting it. Yeah. You know? And so like I literally remember sitting down in the garage with a friend of mine and was like, she was like, Kate, what are you doing? You know, because like I had obviously confided in her about everything that was going on, and she was like, Kate, what are you doing? And I was like, if you can't beat them, join them. And like, so I fucking was like, all right, dude, this is what we're doing. And for 5 years, dude, like I felt like I was on top of the world. Like even though like I was being abused, like Aaron was beating the shit out of me. It was not just like physical abuse, it was mental, it was emotional. Like he stripped away like my family, he stripped away my job, he stripped away school, he stripped like literally to the point to where I only had him. And he would let me know that like nobody else loved me except for him. Wow. And like that's what I needed, was like I just needed somebody to love me. Yeah. And so I was like holding on to that. Yeah. And so I just...
How long did that relationship go for?
5 years.
Jesus. And that's enough, like, Like just a year of that, I would think that is enough to like really cause some damage, emotionally, mentally, spiritually at that. You know, but 5 years of not just abuse, but addiction, of trauma, of everything else, turmoil, everything else that was going on, you know, around you, mentally and emotionally in you. Like, it's just.
But like in my head, I was justifying it because like at least somebody finally loved me. Like he wasn't wanting to leave me.
Right.
I wasn't like gonna be abandoned. I wasn't gonna like, yeah, I was getting the physical and emotional torture of it, but like there was still a body there at night.
Jeez, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's how I thought of it. Like I was like, all right, like at least like he loves me. That's exactly how I would never ask for help because like help meant that they were gonna take him away, and that's the only person that's ever loved me.
Wow. And you couldn't picture life without him. Wow. You see, for me, this is interesting because I've never been through trauma or abuse like that. At least for me. Like, sometimes I'm like, well, why was I even an addict in the first place? Because, you know, my mom and dad were married. There was no abuse. There was, you know, my dad would drink and get violent, but he would like break stuff on the wall or something, or punch the wall or whatever, which I inherited later on, of course. But you know, I didn't go through sexual trauma or physical trauma or abuse or anything like that. And sometimes I felt like guilty being an addict because I was like, I have no reason to be. But that's just doesn't even make sense. But I mean, for you, like, I can't even imagine going through that and the turmoil, the inner turmoil as a woman that we go through. And then it doesn't even stop when that relationship stops. Like, you still carry that with you in your other relationships. Like, and it's crazy because I've learned, you know, that this one person can cause this damage to you, and later on in life, somebody who reminds you of them or does something that reminds you of them, boom, right there, it's like you're in that moment, or you're with that same exact person, like that, almost like that person doesn't even leave you, you know? Yeah. So it doesn't even end when the relationship ends. So anyways, continue on.
But then, like, so whenever I got sober, I was literally stripped away from the relationship. I was literally like stripped away from the relationship by. Do you need to write something?
No. Okay. Just make sure.
Okay. By the law.
Yeah.
So like we got arrested and whatnot, and they were like, you have to go to treatment. You're not allowed to have contact with him anymore. Blah 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 blah. Most terrifying.
Who said
moment,
you weren't allowed to have?
The judge.
Okay. What had happened though? The police came?
No, we got pulled over and there was syringes in the car.
Okay.
And
then there was like a restraining order?
That came after.
Oh, sorry. I'll let you talk. There you go.
So there was a no contact order put against the two of us. Most terrifying moment of my life. Like us going to jail was nothing. Like I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm gonna get out of here and like I'm gonna continue living my life. Fuck this, you know. And like we're gonna keep. Like I thought that getting high and being abused was how I was gonna live the rest of my life, and I was okay with that.
Yeah.
But the judge put me on probation. There was a no contact order, and I had to go to mandatory 4 months of rehab.
Wow.
And
why was there a no contact order though?
Because my parents requested it.
Oh, okay. How old were you?
22.
Wow. And how old are you now?
I am 27.
So like that's recent. At least for me, that's recent.
Yeah, I was turning 22, turning 23. So,
that's almost as long as you've been sober. That is as long as you've been sober.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And
So at this point, right?
They've stripped me from everything, and I'm broken.
Yeah, so like where were you emotionally, mentally, spiritually? Like what was going on?
So like whenever I went to rehab, they were like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna have to open up and share, and like there's therapy." And I was like, "I don't trust none of y'all.
Yeah.
Like fuck y'all. Y'all are a cult. I don't like y'all. I'm not. What's an addict? What is drugs? I'm sorry, I've never done that.
Yeah.
You know." And I was like terrified. And like it took me like 3 weeks of literally crying myself to sleep and like acting out and being a bitch to like finally be like, all right, this is what's going on. And like I just like gave up. I was like, all right, this is what's going on with me. Like if like I was like, nothing needs to be fixed with my relationship, but this all has happened in my childhood. Why don't y'all fix that first? And because I was so defensive of it.
Yeah.
You know, and like it was still stuck in my head that Aaron was the only person that loved me.
And it's crazy how you were protecting him.
Yeah. But that's what you do. Like whenever you're like you don't understand unless you're actually in one of like the protection that you feel like whenever they've like brainwashed you to think that like they are your only person. They are your only source to having love, to having money, to having food, to having any kind of like anything enjoyable or any kind of happiness. Like that's all that he was able to provide that all for me, and nobody else could. And that's what he taught me. And so like in rehab, like whenever I opened up about my rape, there was 8 guys in the room, and it was me and a female therapist. That was terrible.
But that was something to overcome.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Shaking, crying, and I don't know. I was just like,
you just pushed yourself.
I just was like, I think because I was just tired of like holding on to it and like blaming myself at that point. Yeah. And like I just was like, all right, well, this is part of me. If y'all want to judge me or not, like that's cool. But like here.
Yeah.
And like that's what I did, you know. And
what made you because you said when you first went into treatment, you were like, fuck everybody. I don't like. You were just in denial completely. And what switched to where you were finally opening up?
Because like no matter how much denial I was going through, they weren't letting me go.
Okay.
So I was like, if I'm gonna sit here for 45, 60 days, like I might as well get help with like my real trauma.
Yeah.
Not like my trauma from my relationship, because my relationship is perfect.
Right.
But like my real trauma. And so that started off with like, even like whenever I would talk about Calvin, which was my mom's husband.
That's the guy that was abusive to
Yeah. I would be like, but he was a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a good man. He's dead. Like we can't talk about him. Like he like, you know, like he was an alcoholic. He didn't know what he was doing. Like I would defend him.
Right.
Because like whenever you're in that moment, like it's like, this is all that you know and you're accustomed to.
Did you get along with him when he was with your mom?
Yeah. I mean,
did you trust him at the time as a child?
I don't know if trust would be the word.
Did you feel protected?
My mom made me feel protected.
Okay. Just because I'm trying to understand your relationship with your stepdad and your relationship with Aaron to see if something in between those two relationships, like if you felt protected with him, it would make sense why you felt protected with Aaron. Is his name?
Yeah. But like, I mean, all of that ultimately stems from like any issue I have with the men in my life ultimately stems from like the issue with my dad.
Yeah, I was gonna go back
from my like original my real dad.
Your OG.
My OG. Like he didn't want me. Like, he cheated on my mom, and he wanted nothing to do with me.
Wow.
And so, again, like, that stems from, like, needing love wanting, like, like, why don't you love me? Like, I literally just got here, and, like, you don't want me. Like, I haven't done anything wrong. What did I do wrong? Why can't you love me? Why can't, like, and that's how my relationship with my dad has gone, even to this day. Yeah. Like, my dad has always loved my other brothers and sisters more than me. And, like, so, like, literally giving anything and everything of myself to make you love me, to make you want to be around me, to make you want to like get to know me, care about me, just give me something, like, and that's how, like, each relationship, even to my last one, of being like, I just want you to love me, like, I don't care what you do, just love me. And but, like, you know, like, I had to come to, like, accept that this is, like, who my dad is, and it's nothing that's wrong with me, but, like, he's missing out on a fucking phenomenal woman. You know what I mean? Like, I at least know that much. And, like,
how did you get to that point, though, to know, to the point where it's like, okay, you know, I am enough, you know, he, like you just said, like, he's missing out on this phenomenal woman, his daughter. You know, how did you get to that point? What was the switch? Now looking back.
I don't know, because, like, I went through it for years, like I said. Like, even recently, like, me and my dad got into a huge argument, and, like, I was just like, I don't care anymore. Like, I think it's because I started to find my own independence, and, like, realizing that, like, I didn't need him. Like, you haven't been solid and stable in my life for 27 years. What makes me think that I need you? Like, I've made it this whole time. This whole 27 years, I've had me. I've got me. You've never had me. Like, the most that you did was fucking provide food on the table for me, and a roof over my head, and clothes on my back. Like, cool, I appreciate that. Like, there's no doubt that I don't appreciate you being a parent. But, like, for you to be a father, like, I need you to emotionally be there for me. I need you to, like, meet me in the middle. Like, it can't be all, like, the kid comes to you and you still, like, push them away like you don't give a fuck, you know? Like, so, like, who I am today, that's what you get. Like, I am beautiful, and I'm also stubborn, but I'm strong, and I'm caring, and I will give you the shirt off my back, and, like, I have somehow learned how to trust again, you know, and...
Do you think that there were, like, any skills that you learned, life skills or coping skills that you learned in treatment that you carry with you today that helped you work on or build up your self-worth or self-esteem?
Journaling helped me a lot, but, like, then also, like anytime that I feel like I'm not worthy or I'm not good enough, like, I write down stuff on my mirror.
Ooh.
And I, like, write so that, like, I see it.
Yeah.
And it says, like, I am beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, I am worthy of love. And, like, you know, like,
Sorry, that was my cat.
I write things like that, like, you are strong. I am strong. You know, and, like, because, like, my self-doubt takes me back every time. Every single time. And, like, I can go, like, 5 steps forward, and the moment that I start doubting myself and who I am and my beliefs and whatnot, because it all stems from my trauma. Like, it's like a relapse of trauma. You know what I mean? And it's like...
And it's up here.
It's all mental.
And it's like...
And it's like there... No matter how much, like, therapy I can go to, like, mentally, like...
Hold on. My cat is out of control right now. Get over here. I'm back, y'all. I'm back.
But, like, mentally, like, it's like a relapse. Just constant and steady. And, like, the moment that something happens, like I just recently went through a breakup and he was cheating. Immediately I felt like I'm not worth loving anymore. Like I'm not beautiful. Like
I'm not enough. I think that's...
Yeah, like, and then, like, it went back to, like, even, like, my childhood again of, like, body image issues of being, like, all right, well, she's skinnier than me, you know, and, like, all right, well, then I need to activate my eating disorder again, and, like, I need to go work my ass off in the gym for 2 hours a fucking day, and, like, I can't eat this, and, like, so, like, everything that happens in life is a steady, constant cycle. But it's about how you react to them. So, like, I'm not saying that shit's never gonna come up to where it's not gonna trigger you to, like, remember your trauma. But, like, it's about how you react to it. So it's like, how can I move forward? You know what I mean? Like, how can, like, all right, well, me saying that I'm not worthy or that I'm fat, like, bitch, I'm a bad bitch. You know what I mean? Like, no, you are not going to tear me down like that. And, like, I say that right now, and then, like, sometimes, like, I'll go home and cry myself to sleep, you know? Like, it's all about, like, at the end of the day, like, you always have to continue to work on yourself.
It's like
the moment that you stop, the moment you stop working on yourself, or, like, the moment you start doubting yourself, like I said, like, you take steps back. And then it's, like, all of this work was like you're just like taking back all the work that you've done. So it's like, all right, what can I do to continue moving forward? Because like every person, regardless if you're in fucking recovery or not, every person on this fucking planet is broken in some way. And so like, and we're all just trying to fix ourselves. You know, we're all just trying to find out how to do this happiness, how to find it. And so, like, I know for me, where I'm at today, every day is, like, another day of learning lessons. And, like, figuring out how to move forward. And, like, sometimes, like, because I'm not perfect, I take steps back. But, like, the biggest thing is to keep moving forward and to keep pushing and to not stop pushing. And, like, eventually, like, none of this that we've gone through, like I don't think about that rape on a daily basis. I don't think about my dad on a daily basis. I don't think about Calvin on a daily basis. I don't think about Aaron on a daily basis. Like what I'm going through right now, one day that's not going to matter anymore. But the trauma that came from all of these people, and like we need to learn those lessons of what they taught us so that it doesn't have to keep being a repeated cycle.
I always say you go through these experiences in life, negative or positive, but let's say in this case negative, and you notice yourself in a cycle over and over, and the same people keep coming up, toxic relationships, toxic people. And for me, it's like, okay, there's a lesson to be learned in this, and that's why it keeps coming up, right? And I look at it as, what wisdom can I gain from this experience so that I can carry on? Same thing with our failures along in life. Like people that are successful, they go through, you know, it's not just a straight shot to success. There's failure. And why is there failure? Because those are the biggest lessons you learn and the best lessons you learn and you carry with you, right? And in this case, like you're going through mental battles every day. And addiction's the same way. I feel like we go through this mental battle, you know, good thoughts versus bad thoughts. Our thoughts telling us, I'm not good enough, or thoughts telling us to go get high, or thoughts telling us to cut ourselves or make ourselves throw up or whatever. And then you have to like, I guess, I don't know what other ways, I know for one, the negative thoughts are like cognitive distortions, we call them. But you have to overcome them with the positive thoughts, with like thoughts like, okay, you know, I am enough. Like you're saying, affirmations is the word I'm looking for. Affirmations, I am enough, I'm strong enough, I'm beautiful, I'm, you know, whatever you have to tell yourself that to overcome those thoughts and the reality of the situation or whatever, or the case, to overcome that experience that you're going through now, right? So what would you say or what do you do for yourself now? Because from what I hear, how you overcame it a lot had to do from emotional independence, providing for yourself emotionally. How did you get there? What do you do now? Like, what do you practice now? Like, as far as little acts of self-love, or do you work on spirituality? Like, what is it that fulfills you and makes you feel enough?
So,
hold on, I think we have a comment. Let me just check. Oh, Josh's grandma says, "Good job, girls. You both are beautiful." Hi, Grecky. All right, go.
So like, I pray a lot, because the biggest thing I think that my trauma has taught me, or was trying to teach me, was that like I was teaching myself really because of the trauma, was that I was alone. And like I'm real good at being like, no one's there for me, and that's why like I need that like one person to be like, I love you. So like finding God and like getting spiritually connected, and like that way that I don't feel like I'm alone, like somebody hears me, you know, and like I pray to my angels, and like I go out of my way to like say thank you to them for like the bigger, for even like the smaller things, but like the things that are going my way, for like at the end of the day, like if I haven't like had a single bad thing, like I got home that night after working a double, and like I didn't get into a wreck because I didn't fall asleep on the wheel, like thank you for getting me home tonight. You know what I mean? Like I start like showing gratitude. I like go and get my nails done. I go and like I drive down A1A and like scream like Gabby Barrett, I Hope songs, and like I mean, music is like a huge thing for me.
Isn't it crazy how like,
because music helps me know that like somebody else, again, it's like about not being alone, you know, like
somebody else feels
somebody else has been there.
Yeah.
And then like you hear another song from them, or like you hear like Beyonce got cheated on, right? And then you look at Beyonce, and Beyonce is like all broken. You listen to like If I Were a Boy, and then like next thing you know, like it's like All My Single Ladies, and it's like I'm a bad bitch, like don't talk, and you're like, trust me, you're not irreplaceable, I'm irreplaceable, so get the fuck out. You know. And like everyone has gone through, everyone on this planet, like even though if it hasn't been like trauma or addiction, like I said, somebody in some way has been broken. And so like how we're all connected as human beings is by like, we've all felt what each other has felt. We may not have gone through the same fucking experience. Like Beyonce don't know me, Gabby doesn't know me, you know what I mean? But like they've all gone through heartbreak. They've all gone through their own struggles. They've all gone through something to where it's like broke them down. And like Beyonce is like a huge icon for strong, as like a strong woman, you know? And like for me to be able to be like, well, if Beyonce went through it, then I can go through it, you know? And like, I mean, that's not necessarily my thought process, but like she helps me get through a day sometimes whenever I'm screaming her music. But like I take the time to like write down how I'm feeling, and then like I've started writing down, okay, well, this is how I'm feeling right now, but what are the facts? And that way that I can like separate my emotion, because like as a woman as well, like we all go through PMS, and like where our like emotions are heightened and whatnot. And so like whenever I'm being like this emotional crybaby woman, I don't know, you know, like I need to know what the facts are, regardless of like how I'm feeling. Because like if I'm feeling lonely, then I'll sit there. I've told you, like whenever I was going through stuff, like I was like, I feel alone. I feel broken. I feel like I'm not worth loving. And like also reaching out to like other women, reaching out to people, like not like just keeping in my feelings.
Right.
Like I'm getting it out there. Like even if I don't have anyone to talk to at that moment, like I'll go to the gym and get those emotions out, like get that energy out. Like I have to start being active. I have to start opening my mouth because like again, as a kid, I was told like you like if unless you're like happy, unless you have something good to say, nobody wants to hear about it. You know, so like I had to start opening my mouth and saying like, hey, listen, this is what's going on.
Right.
Like this is like I have to start sharing how broken I am so that I can have somebody like hold me accountable and start pushing me up whenever I can't push myself up.
Right. That's all powerful stuff. I was gonna say earlier, you know, isn't it? And what I keep hearing is, or what I've heard from you about like Beyonce and singing songs that are relatable to you, that have gone through, with people that have gone through similar experiences. It all seems to me like at our darkest moments, us overcoming that is where we find ourselves, truly find ourselves, and we truly get to know who we are. Why do you think that is? Because it sounds to me like, even in my story and many of our stories, right, there are periods of darkness that we go through, and we overcome it somehow, however we overcome it. And it's like we blossom into, like you've blossomed into this beautiful young lady who's even stronger and independent. And you know, how does something so beautiful come from something so dark?
You know, like there's actually a flower, and I can't remember the name of it, but I promise if I searched it, I would find it. But like it actually blooms in the darkness, and like lightness harms it.
Wow.
Like the light harms it, and so like it won't grow in the light, so it has to be in the dark. And it's like this beautiful flower that like, and like nobody really knows about it because like it's literally like you could put it in a closet. Wow. Where it's like shut off from light, and like it comes out and it blooms, and like, but that's where like there's a song by George Strait, and it says like I saw God today. And that like every time that somebody comes out of the darkness period and it's like, damn, like who is she? Like I don't even like that is all God. Like every time you see somebody like overcoming, that is God right next to them, walking them through that.
Wow.
You know? Yeah. And like I mean, there's no other way, because like I can tell you that I have been suicidal. Aaron had a gun to my mouth, and I was praying that he would pull the trigger. I have been broken down to like literally nothing, to like completely suicidal, because I have felt like no one is ever gonna like take care of me and treat me, or and I'm not gonna have babies, and I'm not gonna have this, and I'm not gonna have that. And like I think that like again, that's all God. And like whenever you start like overcoming the darkness and like you start coming out into light and whatnot, like that's where you learn how to be grateful. That's where you learn how to be humble. That's where you learn how to be a person that is not normal on this planet. You know what I mean? Like we don't see a lot of those. We don't see a lot of truly humble, beautiful, grateful human beings these days. And I think it's because like whenever we go into the darkness, we kind of get stuck in the darkness, and we're like, well, I don't even know why I had to go through that. Like, yeah, I got out of it, but I don't even understand why I had to go through that. Instead of like looking at it of being like, okay, what did I learn from this? Right. Instead of asking the question why, it should be the question, what did I need to learn from this, so that you could become a better individual, you know? Like I might have had to go through all of that stuff so that I could sit here on this couch with you and like talk on Facebook Live to like share some of my story with somebody else who may be like going through a traumatic event, like that may be like contemplating suicide, that may think that it's not going to get better. Like maybe I had to go through all that so that I could share this story with you, so that I could remember who I am and what I've gone through to help push me through another day. You know, like there's no real answer to life as to like why we have to go through this, or why do I think that out of the darkness I bloom to this beautiful person, you know, like I don't, that's not a question I have an answer to, but whenever I get to God, I'm telling you, I'm gonna ask him.
I mean, my whole philosophy, my new outlook is that, and my own, like, I have to think of it in a selfless way, because as soon as I think or I perceive something in a selfish way, it's like, well, why is this happening to me, instead of the selfish instead of the selfish outlook of, well, this is happening to me, instead of the selfless, it's happening for me, right? Because if I look at things like this is happening for me, then I'm going to use those experiences and lessons, aka wisdom learned in that experience, to help other people. And that's where I've based my purpose on. Is, I don't know what the greater purpose is for humankind. I don't know why God put me on this planet, but I can tell you this, that everything I've gone through and continue to go through is to help somebody else, right? Whether it's my son, people that you meet, like, I don't know, like sometimes my mom hits me up on the phone and is like, what do I do? Like, I need, you know, she's spiritually hurting or whatever. My mom used to never call me and ask me for advice. You know what I mean? I work in a field where we get people that are broken, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, just broken, you know? And even though we all come from different walks of life, we're all here to learn something, you know? And as long as I go through life and go through those experiences, just seeing it as, okay, I went through that because there's somebody else I'm gonna come across that is gonna ask me for, you know, what did I do to overcome that, you know? And it's powerful, and I think that's why people overcome things and continue to overcome them, is people like you, like that talk to them and share their experience. Because sometimes it's like you said, it's just knowing that there's other people out there that have gone through what we've gone through, you know, and not feeling alone. Because our brain, our thoughts will tell us, like, you're alone, you know, or I don't know, you feel alienated. I think that's the best description of it. But it's all good stuff. Like, at the end of the day, it's how you look at it, right? How you perceive it.
Yeah.
Your attitude towards it.
But know? Like, even then, like, and I'm gonna like sit here and be like just real with you, like even though I've like overcome all of that and like I'm standing here a better person, again, like, it still fucks with me. Like it's like kind of like a relapse of what's going on, like mentally. Like, your brain will play fucking tricks on you all day long. And so like some days are gonna be better than others, and some days you're gonna think that you're over it, and some days you're gonna like take 10 steps forward, and then the next day it's a rainy day, and like, or it could be a sunny day, and for no reason at all depression hits you, or for no reason at all this traumatic event and you're sad, you know, like it's trauma. And like, healing is not like a straightforward line. Like, some days are up, some days are down, some days it's sideways, some days it's up and down, and it's like a zigzag. Like, healing is not straightforward. And like, that's why I say, like, every day you need to continue to work on yourself. And like, you need to keep pushing forward. And no matter what, like, don't give up on yourself.
Right. Because
like, that's the easy way out. Nobody, like, that whole quote of like people saying like nobody said it was going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. Like, absolutely, that's where we're at right now, you know? Like, it's not easy, it's hard, and it sucks. But like, when did anybody ever grow from something of things being easy. Like I never learned like a really good lesson from it being easy.
Right.
You know, like I learned my biggest lessons from the hard ones.
Right.
From like the ones that I thought that I would never get over. Like I never thought that like I would find somebody to love me after Aaron. I never thought that like I would find a man to even love me. And like I am here to tell you that sometimes like God may not put like a man or like a woman in your life to like show you love, but like they, not like a significant other, but like I can tell y'all how God showed me, and I'm not trying to like use the God word a lot, but like God showed me that like a man can love a woman by bringing my now stepdad into my life and showing me like that a man can love a woman and take care of, like a man can step in and take care of a woman and her kids that he had nothing to do with. That he has shown the type of love of a woman that I hope that I one day can find. And like I never have truly trusted a man like I do my stepdad role. And like he is the only reason why I believe that like one day something good can happen for me. And like that again, like this is not a significant other. Like yeah, you can learn how to trust people and whatnot, but like this is my stepdad. And like sometimes God like puts people in your life to help give you that like little spray of hope, you know, like of being like, look, there is good people. Look, just pay attention. You need to pay attention. Right. You know, like, and like honestly, like going into recovery, like I thought that was going to be the death of me too. Like me going to treatment, like I was like, there's no way that I can get 4.5 years sober. Absolutely not. And like all of these people, I can't relate to them. But like Mariana's one of my best friends. Like I talk to her on a regular basis, and I would have never met her if I would have never came down here and gotten sober and went to treatment. You know, like I needed somebody like her in my life. And like and like I mean, that goes to say for like a lot of other people too, you know. But like my mom, just like your mom calls you, my mom called me the other day. She's going through some crazy ass shit.
Oh God.
My mom got arrested, y'all. And she's like, I don't know what to do. And I was able to give her some advice because of what I've gone through.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it like cycles around, and it's amazing. And I just, I'm like, okay, God, I see you.
I can't even imagine getting a phone call like that from my mom. No, yeah, I mean, I don't know. My thing is, I think everybody's in recovery. You know, I'm in recovery from addiction. Some other people are in recovery from other mental health disorders or illnesses or other traumas or experiences, whatever. I think we all process things differently, obviously. Yeah. Some of us, like, I guess you could say, like, maybe I have, I don't know, trauma from addiction. You know, I remember my mom saying to me one time, like, she was traumatized from what I put her through, poor lady. And she was traumatized, you know? And I was like, oh, that kind of hit me. And I was like, what?
But, like, whenever you first got sober, because, like, I did this, I was a bitch. I was not nice. I was like, my mom like wrote me this message or this letter, and it was like talking about how like my addiction affected her. And I was like, you're fucking selfish, like you didn't have to go through anything that I did, blah 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 blah. And I was mean. I was not nice about it at all. And like, but like looking back on it, like I was like, wow, like the actions of what I do, or just the actions of other people, if I want to look at it like that, like the actions of what my dad has done, even though he's never like physically hurt me or anything of that sort, like he has impacted my life so greatly, you know, like, and he doesn't even acknowledge that, and that's okay.
Did you ever write him an impact letter?
No, I sat down and told him face to face.
Like the way he's affected you.
Yeah.
And what was his reaction?
I was selfish.
Did he?
But that was my reaction to like my mom.
Yeah,
it's because it's like a defensive thing. Whenever you don't want to like look at yourself, you immediately get defensive.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like whenever you don't think that you have done anything wrong, like, and that's okay too. Like there's still lessons that need to be learned. Regardless if it's from me or for him or for...
Did your dad go through anything like that as when he was a child?
No. I mean, like, I think that my grandparents splitting up and, like, starting 2 new families was probably harmful to him. But, like, my dad's never opened up and shared anything. Like, mine and my dad's...
My dad and I.
Something like that. I don't know. Why are we trying to act like we're writing a book right
now?
We're
proper.
I say fuck every other word. What do I mean? My dad's never opened up. He's never like shared any of that information with me. Like I've kind of been my dad's way of learning, I think that I've always referenced myself, and this is an awful thing, so please don't take it this way. Like I am basically my dad's trash bag. And why I say that is because he has had to learn every lesson that he has ever learned to like become a better father has gone through me and is now reflected onto my sisters. So like with each sister or with each like both of or all 3 of my siblings or of my brothers, my stepbrothers, he has become a better father for them. But like he had to go through lessons with me first before he became that father. But our relationship is so shattered that I don't think that he knows how to, like, even though he knows how to be a better father, he does not know how to have a connection with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. Has he ever worked on your relationship with him? With
No.
you?
No.
Why do you think that is? Have you ever asked him?
He says that he'll try and then he never does. But like my mom, because you know, mom basically hates him. She thinks it's because I look identical to her and he hates her. That I'm like a bad memory for him.
I think he's just an asshole. If you ask me.
Regardless, it has nothing to do with me.
No, right. And that's like that's you have to come to that exception, to that conclusion, you know, that it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quite a journey.
Quite a journey.
And it's not even over yet.
No, dude. But like, I can tell you that like, with all of this, like I've had, with all of this, I've gone through like depression. I've gone through, I like suffer from depression. I suffer from anxiety. I suffer from my trauma and my PTSD and like, I'm not on any kind of medications. So like who you see right now is who you get. Like that's,
I'm not on
like,
any meds either. Holla.
She's lying.
I probably should be.
But you know, like everything that I've gone through does not make me, it doesn't define me as a person today.
Right.
It's helped shape me, inform me, and like taught me lessons and like given me wisdom and whatnot. But like who I am today, I can say that like even though she may not be completely all in one piece, I'm really proud of who I am today. Because some of the shit that I went through should have broke me and it didn't. Like it, and also like even through my addiction, like I should not be here right now. But for some reason I am. And I just hope that I help someone.
That's
you know,
you're here for a purpose.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that. All good stuff, guys. honestly cannot be more proud of this young lady here. You said at 23 you went through this, and then now you're 27. Like, it's still fresh, if you ask me. But, you know, I think, like you said, everybody comes into your life for a reason, you know, to show you something, to help you with something, you know, and that's amazing. That's, in my eyes, the presence of God working in your life, right? So guys, if you have any questions, comments, you're more than welcome to leave them. I'm gonna leave this live feed or video up for you guys if you want to catch us later. Please, 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 guys, go to YouTube. Go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am under the same name, Real Life and Beauty by Mari. The reason why I have beauty on there is because I'm going to be doing makeup tutorials and makeup reviews. I'm working on it. I'm getting all the stuff in from Ulta. I just did some ordering today, so we'll definitely be doing some reviews on some good stuff. So stay tuned. Get on to YouTube. Subscribe to my channel, Real Life and Beauty by Mari. Like my videos, share my videos, guys. Please, please, please share them. Even if you don't watch the whole thing, even if you don't like it, even if you don't like me, even if you don't like Kate, get on there. Haters. No, I'm just kidding. Get on there, share them, share, like. Help your girl out, you know what I mean, Jelly Bean? And lots of love and light to you guys, to your families. Life is precious. Our families are precious, so always, always, always keep them close to you. Tell everybody you love them every day, all day. And do you have anything else to say? We're hungry. We're going to go eat.
Hangry.
We're about to get hangry. Anyways, love you guys. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you so much for watching.